Hey Broncos country, today we're diving deep into some hot news that's got Denver Broncos fans fired up. The topic? Our team brought in a college football monster for a top 30 visit, and this guy could be the missing piece to make our defense that brick wall we all love again. We're talking about Walter Nolen, defensive tackle from Ole Miss, a first-team All-American who's making waves in the 2025 NFL draft process. So grab a beer, sit back in your game chair, and let's enjoy this mile-high vibe chat. We're going to break down who this guy is, why he's so special, and how he can help the Broncos dominate on the field. And of course, I want you guys interacting in the comments. Who's hyped for the draft? Who thinks the defense needs a beast? Like this? Let it out, Broncos country. First, let me introduce you to the guy who's making all the noise. Walter Nolen is a 6'4", nearly 300-pound defensive tackle of pure muscle and explosiveness. He's like the guy who walks into a bar and everyone turns to look, The dude's a force of nature. Born in Memphis, Tennessee, Nolen was one of the most highly sought-after recruits in high school, considered one of the best in his class. He started his career at Texas A&M, where he already showed potential, but it was in 2025, after transferring to Ole Miss, that he truly exploded. Last season, Nolen was absolutely ridiculous: 48 tackles, 6.5 sacks, and 14 tackles for loss. That's right, folks. 14 plays where he stopped the opposing offense behind the line of scrimmage. He earned first-team All-SEC and AP All-American honors, which is like being named the cream of the crop in college football. The guy is a nightmare for quarterbacks and offensive linemen, and now the Broncos are eyeing him to beef up our defensive line. So, Broncos country, what do you think of a guy like this wearing orange and blue? Imagine him lined up next to Zach Allen and DJ Jones, wrecking the trenches. Let me know in the comments. Are you feeling the hype, or do you want to know more before hopping on the Nolen train? Now, let me explain why this top 30 visit is so important and what it means for the future of our team. For those who don't know, top 30 visits are when NFL teams bring up to 30 prospects to their training facility for interviews, physical evaluations, and face-to-face talks. It's like a date, The team wants to get to know the player, see if he has the right mindset, if he fits the locker room culture, and if he has that fire in his eyes that we love in Broncos players. Under Sean Payton and GM George Payton, the Broncos are clearly focused on strengthening the defense for the 2025 draft, and it's no surprise, even though we've got a solid defense in 2024 with guys like Pat Surtain shining in the secondary and Baron Browning before. The trade to the Cardinals making noise, our defensive line still needs more impact. We want to get back to the glory days, like the Super Bowl 50 defense, with Von Miller and company destroying everything. Nolen is a guy who can bring that immediate impact. He primarily plays as a 3 technique, which is that DT position that lines up between the guard and tackle, but he's also versatile enough to play as a 4-eye or even 5 technique in a 3-4 defense, which is the scheme the Broncos use. Translation: he can be the guy who explodes off the snap, plows through the offensive line like it's paper, and goes straight for the quarterback or running back. Plus, the dude has a rare combination of size, strength, and agility. He converts speed into power, which is perfect for a team like ours, the Broncos, who want to pressure the QB and shut down the run game with force. But hey, he's not perfect. Some analysts say he needs to improve his counters, secondary moves to deceive blockers, and his ability to read the run game. But with coaching from Sean Payton and our staff, this kid could turn into a monster in the NFL. So, what do you think, Broncos country? Should we go all in on a DT like Nolen? Or do you want a different position in the first round, like a wide receiver or running back? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I know Broncos country has strong opinions. All right, now that we know Walter Nolen, let's talk about how he could fit into the Broncos roster and the plan for the future. In 2024, we saw Bo Nix shine as a rookie, leading the Broncos to the playoffs for the first time in years. The offense is starting to click with guys like Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims Jr. making big plays. But to be a true contender, we need a defense that strikes fear into our opponents. Our defensive line in 2024 had its moments, but we lacked that guy who can change the game. Zach Allen was solid, and DJ Jones brought experience, but we need more pressure in the interior of the DL. That's where Nolen comes in. He could be a rotational player in 2025, coming in on passing situations to hunt the QB, and by 2026, taking on a full-time starting role. Imagine him and John Franklin Myers forming a duo that doesn't let the opposing offense breathe. Another cool thing is that Nolen is only 21 years old. That's right, folks. The guy's young and has a sky-high ceiling. If the Broncos draft him, probably with the 20th pick in the first round, we're investing in a guy who could be the face of our defense for the next 10 years. And with Pat Surtain, too, already anchoring the secondary, we're building a defense that could be elite for a long time. But hey, I want to hear from you, Broncos country. If we take Nolen in the first round, do you think it's the right pick, or do you want Sean Payton to go after a playmaker for the offense, like a tight end like Tyler Warren or a WR like Luther Burden? Let's talk it out in the comments because this draft is looking promising. Okay, but why is this Nolen visit so important? Does it guarantee that the Broncos will draft him? Not exactly, but it's a strong sign of interest. Top 30 visits are limited, so teams only bring in the guys they're seriously considering. The fact that Nolen came to Dove Valley, the Broncos' HQ, shows that Sean Payton and George Paton are eyeing him for the first or second round. According to insider Mike Kliss from 9 News, Nolen is one of several defensive line prospects the Broncos brought in for visits. This shows that the DL is a priority, but also that the competition is fierce. Other names like Vernon Broughton from Texas are also on the radar. So the pick will depend on who's available at pick number 20 and how the draft board shakes out. And there's more. Nolen is a guy that many mock drafts are projecting for the middle of the first round. So if he falls to us, it could be a steal. But if he goes earlier, the Broncos may have a plan B, like trading up in the draft or picking another DT in the second round. Sean Payton is known for being creative in the draft, so we can expect some surprises. So, Broncos country, do you trust Payton to make the right pick, or are you worried he's going to pull a crazy move in the draft? Let me know in the comments, because I know Mile High fans don't sit on the fence. Guys, if there's one thing I love about Broncos country, it's the passion. We've suffered through years without playoffs, but 2024 showed that the Broncos are back in the game. Bo Nix proved he's the guy. Sean Payton is bringing that championship mentality, and now we're just a week away from the 2025 draft, with the chance to add a talent like Walter Nolen. Just imagine, next season, we see Nolen exploding through the line, sacking Patrick Mahomes and making Arrowhead Stadium go silent, or stopping the run game of Josh Jacobs from the Raiders dead in its tracks. That's the type of impact that can turn our defense from good to dominant. And with the young base we already have, like Nick Bonito and Riley Moss, the Broncos could become a nightmare for our opponents. Plus, Nolen has that underdog vibe that fits with the Broncos. He didn't blow up right away at Texas A&M, but he worked hard, transferred to Ole Miss, and showed that he's one of the best in the country. That grind-to-the-top mentality is exactly what our team is all about. So, Broncos country, let's dream big. What do you think of seeing Nolen in orange and blue? And who else do you want us to pick in the draft? Let's talk it out in the comments because this video is for you, the best fans in the NFL. All right, folks, we've reached the end of this epic chat about Walter Nolen and the future of our Broncos. The 2025 draft is just around the corner, and Nolen's visit shows that Sean Payton and George Paton are working hard to build a team that will make waves in the AFC West. We're one step away from being that team everyone fears, and guys like Nolen could be the key to that. I want to see everyone interacting in the comments. Are you hyped for Nolen? Do you think he's the right guy for our first-round pick, or do you want a different position? And don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss any Broncos content. I'm shouting loud and proud, "Go Broncos!" See you next time, Broncos country, and let's hope this draft is historic.